So I just wanted to start by saying that this video in no way is intended to be used as health advice. It's simply me sharing my experience with diabetes. Please use your team of healthcare professionals to make the best decisions in managing your diabetes. So, the Dexcom G5 continuous glucose monitor. I was really excited at the concept of continuous glucose monitoring, and a couple of things held me back for a long time. Obviously the cost is huge, and secondly the fact that you still had to do so many finger prick tests throughout the day with them. My endocrinologist pointed me towards the Dexcom, and it seemed to address a few of those issues. However, cost is still a really big factor, and the fact that the sensors needed to be replaced every 7 days. So I thought, is there a way that can be stretched out? And looking online, it seems that most people are stretching their sensors out to beyond 7 days, to 14 days, to 21 days even. So anyway, my experience with stretching out the sensor beyond the 7 days has been mixed. The first sensor I installed, 3 days after I installed it, I did an ultramarathon, which was an 18-hour run, and the sensor stayed on perfectly. The unit worked flawlessly, and then it stayed on and was reliable for another 18 days. So I thought to myself, fantastic, I'm going to be able to get 3-4 weeks out of these things, and it's really going to bring the cost down for me. Since then it hasn't quite happened like that. I've been averaging about 2 weeks per sensor. Most of the time at the end of that period, it's the adhesive on the sensor that gives way rather than the reliability. But this time around it was a little bit different, and so I just wanted to show you what happened to me for me to make a decision to take my sensor off tonight and start a fresh one. The adhesive had started to give away, and I just used some paper tape to hold it in place, and I've done that previously and managed to get a few more days out of it. So anyway, most of the time I have to take the sensor off because the adhesive gives way. I have a shower once a day and the water just runs on it. I don't try and protect it or anything like that. But this time round it started to become unreliable, and for me that means it's basically useless. So pretty much on 14 days on the mark, I was getting ready to demonstrate how I actually roll over from one 7-day period to the next without changing the sensor. But then I got the dreaded 3 question marks. And if you're not familiar with those, I'll just show you now. I took a few screenshots. So we got the dreaded 3 question marks. Now if you tap on the 3 question marks, it gives you an explanation of what's going on, and it says you've either had paracetamol or acetaminophen, or you've got a problem with your transmitter and you should reinstall your transmitter. So in this case I knew I didn't have paracetamol, and it's unlikely that it's if I'd only just installed a fresh sensor and a fresh transmitter, then yeah, I might have there might be a connection issue there, and I'd probably take the transmitter off, clean the contacts and reinstall it. But seeing as I knew I'd had it on for 14 days, and I'm also coming up to 90 days for the transmitter, I thought maybe this was just the end of this session. But anyway, I thought I'd try and restart it. So I went into the menu and clicked on Stop Sensor, which gives you a few warnings before you completely stop it. And then you're back on the home screen, and this is the screen that you get after you've installed a fresh sensor. So if you click on the green circle there and hit OK, you're into your 2-hour warm-up. And so I did that hoping that I might be able to get another couple of days out of it. But as soon as my warm-up had finished and I put in my 2 glucose values, I was back to the 3 question marks. So I'm at 14 days and you might be wondering, what does a sensor look like after 14 days? Clearly from that you can see that it's no good to me anymore, but what if the software was still working accurately, but the sensor had just started to fall off? I'll show you what a sensor looks like when I still keep it on, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I think it's time for it to come off because the adhesive is too far gone. So I've got my sensor on my right side today, or this fortnight, and you can see I've put on a little bit of extra paper tape to hold it in place. And I got that wet in the shower and it didn't seem to have cause too many problems. But if I take the paper tape off, you can really see the edges of the sensor tape lifting up. And that wasn't quite as far up yesterday, and I was quite happy to leave it go for a bit longer. But now you can see that it's almost come down to where the transmitter connects and where the sensor actually inserts into the skin. I might have left this on for a little bit longer because the adhesive that's there is still quite firm. So I'm just going to take it off now. It's pretty straightforward. You just start on one side and pull it straight out. And you can see there, if you can see the sensor, hard to focus. You can see the little wire there sticking out, and that's what's been under the skin. So that's it. That's my 14-day session, and it's going to be my last video for a little while because I'm up to a new transmitter and I haven't bought one yet. So it's back to the finger prick tests for me.